Hi, everyone. Welcome again to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
I'm Antony.
Today is the first of a 2-day lesson on something that's a little spooky.
没错。
And in particular, we'll be talking about jack-o'-lantern, which every American knows, and you're going to find out about too.
没错，我们今天要讲的主题呢，跟万圣节有点关系。相信各位听到 jack-o'-lantern 一定会想到万圣节，对不对？今天的话是10月30号，明天，然后后天这几天的话，你会常常看到路上呢，可能会有一些小朋友，好，那个 trick or treaters， 好，他们会跑到来跟你要糖果啊，挨家挨户的要糖果等等。我们来看一下我们今天的主题哦，在这个主要的这个题目上面 ，The Tale of the Jack-o'-lantern。The tale 这个 tale 的意思就是 story 的意思，那它中文的意思是杰克是谁呀？一起来认识南瓜灯的由来。
The Tale of the Jack-o'-lantern. Every year around Halloween, people across the world carve spooky, grinning faces into pumpkins and then place a light inside to create jack-o'-lanterns. This tradition has a history that goes back hundreds of years, and it all started in Ireland with the story of Stingy Jack. The story goes like this. Stingy Jack came across the devil and tricked him by trapping him with a cross. Before letting the devil go, Stingy Jack made him promise not to take his soul. When Stingy Jack died, he wasn't allowed into hell. However, God refused to let Jack into heaven as well. Jack had nowhere to go and was sent out into the dark night with only a piece of burning coal. Jack put the coal into a lantern made from a turnip to light his way. It is said that he is still wandering between heaven and hell. In Ireland and Scotland, people began to carve their own scary lanterns and put them in windows to scare away Stingy Jack and other evil spirits. They used turnips, beets, and potatoes to make them. When immigrants from these countries came to the United States, they began using the local pumpkins. All of these objects were called jacks of the lantern or jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay, we are going to be talking about jack-o'-lanterns and other things about Halloween. This is in The Origins section of your magazine. The origin of something is where does it come from? And there are a lot of strange words having to do with this holiday that we call a children's holiday, but a lot of adults like to do something at this special time of year as well.
没错，所以我们今天呢，他提到这个万圣节的话，除了小朋友喜欢啊，大人也喜欢。那这边的话，我们看一下我们的副标题，他说 From striking deals with the devil to protecting their house.The jack-o'-lantern has a long history. 它本身的历史呢是很悠久的。它这边的话，我们先把这个 from 跟 to 先圈起来。from 跟 to 的话，它都是介系词嘛，所以 striking deals with the devil 与跟恶魔交易，好，从跟恶魔交易呢到 protecting the house 保护家园。所以以往的话，它本身有非常非常多历史典故。那特别注意一下 striking deals with the devil 跟恶魔交易 ，striking deals with 就是跟谁谁谁交易的意思，这也是我们非常重要的一个重点字汇。
Every year around Halloween, people across the world carve spooky, grinning faces into pumpkins and then place a light inside to create jack-o'-lanterns. Well, there's your title of today's lesson, and now we're going to tell you more details about it so you really get an understanding and a feeling for this weird, spooky, and special holiday. Every year around, near Halloween, a few days before, on the day, a few days after, is around Halloween. People across the world, or we can say over the world, or around the world, carve. When we use the verb carve, we're usually talking about a knife cutting into something. So, since we're talking about Halloween and after that is Thanksgiving in the United States, people will buy a very large turkey and put it into the oven for many, many, many hours. It's not easy to do to prepare a turkey well. And when they bring it out, you need a very long and sharp knife to carve the meat off the turkey. If you use a knife to put butter on a piece of bread, we don't say carve. Carve is to cut, C, carve, C, cut, with a large knife.
呀，所以使用 carve 这个字的话，多半是用刀，而且是那种比较大的刀子去割、去切那样的感觉，不只是小小这样划一刀，不是哦。所以这边的第一句话告诉你说 ，Every year around Halloween， 每年在万圣节前后附近的时候呢 ，people across the world， 当然你可以讲 over the world、around the world， 因为前面已经用到 around 了，我们尽量用换字的方式 ，people across the world， 世界各地的人呢。Carve spooky， 老师刚刚最开始讲到 spooky， 对吧？就是这个字 spooky， 就是让人觉得毛骨悚然的感觉。好 ，grinning faces 指的就是那种咧嘴笑的那种脸孔。然后呢 ，into pumpkins 在南瓜上面刻出这种看起来有点恐怖、毛骨悚然、咧嘴笑的这种脸孔。然后 and then place a light inside to create jack-o'-lantern。然后呢，在里面放一个这个灯，对不对？好，这样就制成了我们的 jack-o'-lantern， 就是南瓜灯的意思。
Now, pumpkins in Chinese, 南瓜, I've noticed in Taiwan are maybe about this big. Mm-hmm. In the U.S., on some farms, they grow especially large pumpkins. They can easily be 50 kilograms.
Wow.
Hard to pick up. But those aren't the kind that are used for the jack-o'-lanterns. Those are too big. But in the fall, in the autumn, if you're driving your car in the countryside, you can see some fields with these enormous balls of orange or tan-colored pumpkins.
哇，所以在这边的话，你要说有些那个美国的那种大的那种农庄啊，他们会种出非常大的南瓜，然后老师刚刚提到说是一个大概有50公斤这么重，以上，而且非常大，那个不是用来制作南瓜灯的啦。但有的时候你在开车开到乡间的时候，你看到某些农庄上面，他们就会出现那种类似像橘子一样那种色泽的南瓜，然后那个南瓜呢超级大，可能50公斤以上这么大的南瓜。
This tradition has a history that goes back hundreds of years, and it all started in Ireland with the story of Stingy Jack. This sentence introduces us to the fact that we're going to tell you a story about the origin of jack-o'-lantern. Now, Ireland is the island right next to the island of England, but it has a different culture. That's a long story. But there's the language Irish, which is not related to English. Very few people can still speak it. In the modern world, almost everyone in Ireland now knows English, but they know some Celt language. Anyway, there are many traditions in this part of the world, the Celtic traditions and the Old English or Viking traditions in England, and they make wonderful stories, and they can also make interesting things to do during the time of year. For example, Christmas has many, many traditions in different parts of the world.
Yeah, 没错，所以这边还告诉你它的这个 tradition， 它这样的传统怎么来的。他说 ，This tradition has a history， 它本身是有很大的历史 ，that goes back hundreds of years， 很长很悠久的历史，而且是可以追溯到数百年前的哦。然后呢 ，and it all started in Ireland。老师刚刚简单的介绍一下爱尔兰，它就在英格兰左边，它左边的一个地方，完全不一样的文化。老师刚才提到另外一个字就是 Celt， 就是 C-E-L-T， 它的形容词是 Celtic， 它是指爱尔兰当地的居尔特人，还有居尔特他们的文化。所以他们的话，其实在这个英国也好，在北欧洲也好，他们融合了非常非常多爱尔兰文化啦，或是老师提到这个维京人的他们的文化，还是北欧的那些文化啊，很多很多的故事都从这样来的。 所以他最后告诉你说 ，It all started in Ireland， 它是来自于爱尔兰 ，with the story of Stingy Jack， 是爱尔兰的吝啬鬼杰克他所衍生出来的故事哦。
Talking about just for a second here, the the Viking influence on England. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Tuesday. The two Woden, Thor. You've seen the movie Thor. Thursday, and then Friday was
Freya.
Freya.
Yeah.
So there's been quite a bit of influence on English, the people and the culture over really thousands of years.
没错。所以说，你今天如果提到是北欧的一些文化的话，你可能听过北欧的那些神话里头的Norse mythology 里面有提到各式各样的战神索尔啊，你们熟悉的索尔，然后还有那个索尔的这个 Thor 就是 Thursday 的由来，那个 Freya 是另外一个神，那他那个 Freya 的话就是 Friday 的由来，你都可以看到那个北欧的文化如何影响到我们现在所讲的英文。
Okay, that takes us up to the end of the first paragraph. We'll take a short break and come back for the second. Okay, let's get busy here. The story goes like this. Remember, we ended the last paragraph talking about a story, and it goes like this. That means this is now the story. Jack came across the devil. Jack is a man, and the devil, we use dash at a D here because it refers to something holy or something from the Bible, and it's a name. The most evil being in the world or out of the world, and tricked him. If Jack he didn't try to meet him, he happened to meet the devil, and he tricked the devil by trapping him with a cross. The cross would be the Christian cross, which has very strong positive power and can control the devil, according to the story. Before letting the devil go, finally the devil threatened him or pleaded with him, get that cross away from me. And Jack agreed to, but he made the devil promise not to take his soul. The soul is the part of us that lives forever, and it's what it's our memory of all our lives, and this is what God will judge when we die, if you're a good person or not.
没错。所以我们在这一段的一开头呢，好，我们来看一下它的故事。它的故事是这样子的啦。The story goes like this. 这个地方特别注意一下，它是用 go 这个动词 goes like this. 故事是这样的哦。Stingy Jack came across the devil. 他 came across 意思就是指偶然遇见，不是说我跟这个 devil 约好了下午3点钟见了，不是这样的嘛，对不对？他偶然遇见了这个恶魔，然后呢，这个 Jack 也不是省油的灯啊，居然 tricked him by trapping him with the cross. 这个 cross 就是指这个十字架，还有可能有神力、有法力的，能够困住 trap 这个字就是困住，居然把这个恶魔给困住了，用十字架的力量把他给困住了。Before letting the devil go， 在他说好，拜托，可能这个恶魔威胁他，或者是恶魔恳求他说，拜托你放我走，对不对？好，在放走恶魔之前呢 ，Stingy Jack 吝啬鬼这个 Jack 就讲说，你得答应我 ，made him promise not to take his soul。如果你答应我，在我死之后不把我灵魂夺走的话，我就放你走。哇，他居然给威胁这个恶魔，很厉害吧？好，在这里的话，他就这样去做了。后面发生什么事情呢？
When Stingy Jack died, this is the time when God will judge his soul. He wasn't allowed into hell because the devil promised him he could, if he were free, then the devil would not take Jack and put him into hell below. However, God refused to let Jack into heaven as well. God was unhappy with Jack, maybe because he made a deal with the devil, we don't know, but God said, nope, you're not coming up here to heaven. And the devil said, "No, I promised you, you can't come to hell either."
Wow.
What a problem.
哦，没有错，所以现在来啦，这样好有意思哦。他就告诉你说 ，When Stingy Jack died， 当这个我们主角吝啬鬼杰克死掉了之后呢 ，He wasn't allowed into hell， 因为呢，这个恶魔不敢收他。我已经讲好了，说我不会收你的灵魂，所以你不要进来。OK。However， 然而呢 ，God 上帝呢 refused to let Jack into heaven as well 。然后上帝也说，哎，你这边是天堂，你跟魔鬼做了交易，你不要来，你不要来。所以呢。这个天堂也不收他，地狱也不敢收他，所以他怎么办呢？好可怜，两边都不能去哎。
Jack had nowhere to go. He was dead. His soul was still alive. Your soul lives forever, but it's not going to hell and it's not going to heaven. Jack had nowhere to go and was sent out into the dark night. You have to stay on earth.Now, who cares if it's night or day? You leave the presence of God and the devil with only a piece of burning coal. Maybe it was the devil who felt sorry for him and said, "Oh, well, at least you can take this piece of coal, which is fiery because hell is always burning, and it will give you some heat and it will give you some light to help you in the dark."
哇，所以呢，最惨的状况来了，对不对？哈，他说 Jack had nowhere to go， 无处可去了嘛，and was sent out into the dark night。好，你就说好，就把他送往这个黑夜。可是也不会说让你暗蒙蒙的，什么都看不到，还给他一点东西 ，with a piece of burning coal。他手上呢就带着一个还在燃烧中这个煤炭，至少可以帮他照亮这个黑夜的路吧。
Jack put the coal, this burning coal,into a lantern made from a turnip to light his way. So a turnip is a long and somewhat thick vegetable. It grows underground. And so he could take out some of the turnip and put the coal inside of it and then hold the turnip. He wouldn't burn his hand, but he would have the burning coal give him a little bit of light.
没错，所以到后来怎么样呢 ？Jack 不会一直拿着，真是很烫啊。Put the coal into a lantern， 他就把这个东西呢，这个燃烧的这个 coal 煤炭呢，放进了 into a lantern。好，这个 lantern 就是灯笼嘛。Made from a turnip。Turnip 呢，就是我们讲的中文的话，它叫做无茎，它长得就是很像我们台湾在市场上买的那种大头菜，一颗这样子的哈。那种感觉，还把它放进去这个无茎做的这个它的这个灯笼，然后呢 ，to light his way 就可以照亮他的路。
It is said that, remember those words, because when you hear it, you're going to hear a story. It is said that he, Jack, is still wandering here, there, but he can't go to heaven and he can't go to hell. So he just walks from place to place. He doesn't really have anywhere to go.
没错，哇，好惨哦。It is said that 就是据说啊，he is still wandering， 好，就是在到处漫无目的的走，在这个人间这样子走着，between heaven and hell， 没办法上去天堂，也下不了地狱，所以他只能停在人间。
In Ireland and Scotland, people began to carve their own scary lanterns and put them in windows to scare away Stingy Jack and other evil spirits. Okay, Ireland, as he said, is the island to the fairly large island to the west of England. Scotland is in the northern part of the island of England. In those areas, people just began they liked the story, and so they would carve pumpkins and other large vegetables and put in a candle, and you could see the light coming out, and they would carve it so that you would have a scary face. And it wasn't to scare people, it was supposed to scare any evil spirits like Stingy Jack.Who happened to be wandering around outside your house.
没错，所以你看啊，后面就来了 In Ireland and Scotland， 它在爱尔兰跟苏格兰这两个地方呢 people began to carve their own scary lanterns. 他们开始自己去刻出一些属于他们自己看起来很吓人的这种灯笼哦。所以这边的话，你会看到 scary 这个字。scary 这个形容词呢，其实是来自于 scare 这个动词，就是吓跑。你看后面会讲到说 ，and put them in windows to scare away， 有没有？这样子的话，放在这个靠近窗户的地方，就能够吓跑那些 Stingy Jack and other evil spirits， 像 Stingy Jack 吝啬鬼杰克，还有其他这些邪灵，都能够让他们邪灵退散。
They use turnips, beets, and potatoes to make them. Here are three vegetables, as you know. We just talked about turnip. Beet is another underground vegetable. It can be fairly large and is purple or red in color. Potatoes, everybody knows. So they didn't use pumpkins, but the next sentence tells us when immigrants from these countries came to the United States, from Ireland, Scotland, and probably England as well, they began using the local pumpkins. As I said, pumpkins can be this big, no problem at all. You really should see them to believe them. But people will buy something like this because you can make a large face.
Yeah.
And they put a candle here, and it's a lot of fun to walk around on Halloween night. And different houses will have different pumpkins with different faces, scary faces.
没错啊，所以这边的话呢，他就告诉你说啦，他说 they used turnips, beets and tomatoes to make them. 好，所以他们当初在这个爱尔兰跟 Scotland 苏格兰这个地方的话，他们是使用当地的这些蔬菜嘛，可能像是我们刚刚讲过的无精啊，或是 beets 甜菜啊，你可能有吃过那个 beet roots， 然后那种甜菜根啊，对不对？就那种紫色的或红色的东西嘛。And potatoes 马铃薯啊，来制作这些灯笼。然后后面他讲到说 ，When immigrants from these countries came to the United States， 当这些来自于爱尔兰或是苏格兰这些移民到了美国之后呢，他们还保有这个传统嘛，于是他们就把这个传统带进了美国。可是他们使用的这些材料，他不再使用那些无精啦，或者甜菜、马铃薯等等，他们用什么呢？ They began using the local pumpkins。他们使用当地我们可以找得到的适合拿来制作灯笼的南瓜啊，就变成我们现在的南瓜灯。好，所以这边的话，他就告诉你说，他们开始使用这些 local pumpkins 当地的南瓜来制作灯笼。
The local pumpkins that most people use that I just mentioned are not the super big ones. They're the ones about like a basketball or a little larger than that. The meat that is the inside flesh or meat of the pumpkin can be made into a very delicious like pudding, and that's how they make pumpkin pie. But don't buy a big one because it doesn't taste good.
没错。所以如果你今天要去做这个，比方说里面南瓜的话，把里面的那个肉都挖掉嘛。如果说你这个里面挖掉的肉还想拿来做南瓜派啊或什么东西的话，你不要买太大南瓜，不然那个南瓜会非常非常难吃。所以买那种适中大小的，然后它挖出来里面的肉还可以制作南瓜派，就变成是你的那个灯笼也用到了，里面的肉也没有浪费掉。
All of these objects were called jacks of the lantern or jack-o'-lanterns, with S is for the plural form.
所以最后呢，所有这些东西，你刚刚所听到的这些物品，不管是在这个爱尔兰或者是苏格兰他们所制作的这种，或者是像是他们到了美国当地用南瓜制作的这种灯笼，全部 all of these objects were called jacks of the lantern。好，这是原本的名称，或者是呢大家俗称的Jack-o'-lanterns， 这个时候 Jack-o'-lanterns 的话，这个 s 就会放在 lantern 的后面来当做复数形态，就是我们说的捷克灯笼哦。
Well, I hope you get the chance one year in the future to visit America at the end of October, around the time of Halloween. In addition to jacks of the lanterns, you also have children dressing up and some adults as ghosts and monsters or crazy things, cartoon characters and so on. And they go door to door, and ask for candy, trick or treat, and it's fun. It's a very American holiday.
没错，没错。有机会的话，可以到美国实际去感受一下万圣节的氛围哦。
Okay, until the next time we get together, hope you're learning some English with us and having a good time at it too. Until the next time,
bye bye.